It charged like a storm. Within seconds, its prey, heavier than a car, was slammed to the ground. There was no time to fight back, no chance to escape. Every bite was a death sentence, crushing bones like crackers. This was T-Rex, the monster whose name alone could silence the entire prehistoric plains. But have you ever wondered, was T-Rex really as unbeatable as we think? We call it the king of the dinosaurs, the apex predator of the late Cretaceous. It had everything a killing machine needed. Jaws strong enough to crush metal, a sense of smell more powerful than modern-day bloodhounds, and a massive, muscular body. If it lived today, T-Rex wouldn't need guns or weapons. It was the weapon. Stretching nearly 13 meters long and weighing up to 9 tons, T-Rex was twice the size of a city bus. Each step could shake the ground. Unlike other predators that relied on speed or strategy, T-Rex was a perfect blend of brute force and lethal instinct. To many scientists and dinosaur fans, T-Rex isn't just a creature from the past. It's an icon, a legend. But what if we were wrong? What if other predators were stronger, larger, or even more dangerous? Before answering that, we need to take a hard look at the facts about T-Rex. Here's something people often forget. Everything we know about it comes from fossils. And fossils, as valuable as they are still incomplete puzzle pieces of a massive prehistoric picture. Over millions of years, could other creatures have challenged T-Rex's throne? Was it truly the king, or just a celebrity made famous by Hollywood? The dinosaur world wasn't ruled by just one beast. Behind the crown of king were other colossal predators lurking in the shadows of history, each with its own terrifying style. And they were anything but weak. Spinosaurus, the longest meat-eating dinosaur ever discovered. Giganotosaurus, a South American giant with blade-like teeth. Carcharodontosaurus, the shark-toothed lizard, a living nightmare from Africa. These were not side characters. These were serious contenders for the title of the most fearsome predator in history. But to find out who truly deserves the throne, we need to weigh them all. Not just their size or bite force, but how they hunted, how they survived, and how they ruled their domains. In the upcoming parts, we'll dive into each challenger, break down the details, and witness a prehistoric showdown like never before. If T-Rex was the king of the north, then Giganotosaurus was the rebel of the south. Over 98 million years ago, the land we now call South America was ruled by a predator so massive, so ferocious, it challenged everything we thought we knew about dominance. Its name was Giganotosaurus. At over 13 meters long and nearly as heavy as T-Rex, Giganotosaurus wasn't just big. It was fast and deadly in a completely different way. Unlike T-Rex, which likely hunted alone, Giganoto is believed to have hunted in packs. Imagine a coordinated group of these giants taking down an Argentinosaurus the size of a building. That's not a hunt. That's a prehistoric execution. Its teeth weren't thick and crushing like those of T-Rex. Instead, they were long, sharp, and blade-like. Giganoto didn't need to pulverize. It only needed one deep slash, and then it could wait while the victim bled out. Add to that a top speed of nearly 50 km/h, faster than a motorbike in the city, and you have a predator that combined size with terrifying speed, a deadly combo. But if Giganoto was the nightmare on land, Spinosaurus ruled the rivers. For years, scientists debated whether Spino lived on land or in water, but the latest evidence paints a chilling picture. Spinosaurus was the first known semi-aquatic carnivorous dinosaur, a predator that conquered both worlds. At up to 15 meters long, Spinosaurus was longer than any other meat-eating dinosaur. Its long, narrow snout and conical teeth resembled a crocodile's, perfect for grabbing slippery prey. But don't be fooled. With powerful legs, massive claws, and a tail like a paddle, Spino could charge out of the water like a prehistoric shark. No one knows exactly how fast it was on land, but if you were its prey, you wouldn't want to find out. Then, lurking in Africa, was another silent terror, Giganotosaurus. The name sounds like something from a horror movie, and so did its teeth. Long, sharp, and curved like meat hooks, they weren't designed just to bite. They were built to rip. If T-Rex was the bone crusher and Giganoto was the slasher, then Giganotosaurus was the ripper. No pack hunting, no theatrics. Karcha would strike once and let panic finish the job. 3 names, 3 distinct killing styles, none of them average. Each one ruled its own prehistoric kingdom. But they all shared one thing in common. If T-Rex looked away for even a second, they were ready to take the crown. So what happens if these monsters face off? Does size matter more than strategy? Does raw aggression beat precision? And most importantly, does T-Rex still deserve the title of King of the Dinosaurs? This will be a battle for survival, not for the faint of heart. And it's about to begin. Imagine a moment when time collapses, ancient eras collide, and the greatest predators from 3 different continents roam the same world. No more barriers of geography, no more separation by millions of years. Just one battleground where only the strongest survives. This is not Hollywood. This is a prehistoric showdown in an alternate timeline. The ultimate dinosaur face-off. T-Rex, the crusher. Giganotosaurus, the slasher. Spinosaurus, the ambusher. Giganotosaurus, the ripper. If they crossed paths, who would survive? T-Rex dominates in raw power. Its bite force reached 6 tons, the equivalent of an SUV crushing a metal can. One solid bite to the skull, and the fight could be over. Meanwhile, Giganoto and Karcha had long, sharp teeth designed for slicing, not crushing. They were built to injure and bleed their opponents over time. Spinosaurus, despite being the longest of them all, had a jaw made for gripping rather than killing. In a direct confrontation on land, Spino would be at a serious disadvantage, especially against a tank like T-Rex. But when it comes to speed and mobility, Giganotosaurus takes the lead. With a leaner frame and long muscular legs, it could reach speeds up to 50 kilometers per hour, enough to circle its prey, strike with precision, and retreat before danger arrived. T-Rex, while powerful, was slower, maxing out around 27 to 30 kilometers per hour. Spino was even slower on land, being more adapted to water than to sprinting. Giganotosaurus remains less understood, but likely had average land speed, not fast enough to outrun Giga but still faster than Spino. Environment and strategy could flip the script. Spinosaurus was never built for open combat. It was an ambusher. If the battleground was a riverbank, a swamp, or a coastal floodplain, Spino would rule. With its crocodile-like snout, paddle-shaped tail, and aquatic adaptations, it could launch deadly surprise attacks from the water. Giganoto and Karcha, meanwhile, were better suited for forested regions or plains, using speed and stealth to their advantage. T-Rex, bulky and fearsome, was hard to miss, but it did not rely on stealth. Its intimidation alone was a weapon. Fossil evidence shows T-Rex had bite marks on its skull, proof of brutal battles with its own kind. It wasn't just a hunter. It was a warrior, willing to fight for territory, dominance, and survival. This aggression makes it more likely to charge head-on, while others might hesitate. Giganoto and Karcha may have hunted in packs, using strategy instead of brute force. Spino preferred ambushes over confrontation. In a sudden deathmatch, T-Rex would likely be the first to engage without a second thought. When judged by raw power, bite force, and ferocity, T-Rex clearly stands tall. But when you factor in speed, strategy, and adaptability, the others close the gap fast. Each has an edge in a different scenario. Giganoto could outmaneuver. Spino could ambush. Karcha could tear through a target with terrifying precision. That's why this battle is so legendary. There is no obvious loser, only hunters waiting for the right moment. And still, one question lingers. If only one could wear the crown, if only one predator could be named the true king of the meat-eating giants, who would it be? That answer is coming, but not yet. The sky was as dark as ink, the clouds thick and suffocating, swirling over the ancient land. There was no sunlight, no sound, only the smell of blood, of fresh meat, and the shrill growls mixed with the thunder. This was no longer the world of life. It was a battleground of death. At the edge of the forest, Giganotosaurus emerged first. Its yellow eyes burned like fire. It moved quietly, but every step was a warning. Not because it wanted to fight, but because it knew. Tonight, the one who strikes last won't live to see the morning. On the other side, Spinosaurus rose from a shallow swamp. Its back stood tall like a ghostly sail, water dripping from its long, sharp teeth. It didn't roar, didn't bellow. It just watched, silent, calculating. A predator that didn't need to show off because it knew how to kill in silence. Giganotosaurus hid in the thick trees, its eyes unblinking. Its claws lightly scratched the earth. It didn't move yet, but when it did, it would be a single deadly strike, ripping the flesh of any foe. It didn't care who its enemy was, just how long before they stopped breathing. And then, the ground shook. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't an earthquake. It was T-Rex, the last to arrive. Every step it took made the entire forest hold its breath. Its head was low, its jaws wide. Its breath sounded like a giant engine. It didn't hide. It didn't sneak around. It knew who it was, and it was here to end all disputes. No signal, no rules, no mercy. Giganoto charged first, fast, aggressive. But T-Rex didn't flinch. It turned and slammed its shoulder with full force. Giganoto staggered, but before it could recover, Spino charged from the side, attacking both with a mighty slash across T-Rex's flank. Blood sprayed. The roar sent birds fleeing. As the three giants clashed at the center, Giganotosaurus moved around the perimeter. It waited for the right moment. Then, just as T-Rex turned to attack Giga, Karcha struck like a shadow, sinking its teeth deep into T-Rex's hind leg. A savage tear right to the tendon. T-Rex roared, spun, and swung its tail, knocking Karcha back several meters. But by then, Giganoto was back. It didn't charge directly. It circled, attacking relentlessly from the side, leaving long, deep gashes on T-Rex's thick skin. Spino kept lurking beneath the water, waiting for the right moment to drag a victim down into the swamp. The battle was no longer a one-on-one confrontation. It was a chaotic frenzy of claws, teeth, and blood. No alliances, no plans, just survival instincts screaming in each beast. T-Rex, despite blood pouring from its wounds, still held the upper hand. It didn't back down. It slammed Giga down and locked its jaws around the opponent's neck, a bite that could end it all. But at that exact moment, from behind, Spino struck. sinking its long teeth into T-Rex's neck. Blood sprayed like a river. T-Rex's final roar echoed like thunder, fierce but desperate. Everything went silent. Giga lay motionless. T-Rex was still. Karcha had disappeared, and Spino slowly retreated into the shadows, carrying its own wounds. There was no clear winner, only the absolute savagery of the prehistoric world. Perhaps the crown was never meant to belong to any one of them. Maybe it belonged to the world they once ruled, a world where the only law was, the strong survive, and the weak are torn apart. The battle was over. The earth was shattered. The blood of these ancient creatures stained the ground. There were no more roars, no more clashes. The air grew still, but not because of peace. Rather, it was a deathly silence. T-Rex lay there, unable to rise. Deep wounds, blood dried on its colossal body. Yet, in the darkness, its heavy head still moved, and the dull eyes of T-Rex still held the final hint of pride. Even as it fell, it remained the victor in the hearts of others. Giganotosaurus, though wounded, stood firm, watching from a distance. Its instincts knew this battle wasn't over. Giganotosaurus, though not dead, was on the ground, panting, blood oozing from the long cuts on its body. However, Giga understood that in this battle, just one more mistake could mean everything would end. And Spinosaurus? It did not act immediately. The silent ruler of the underwater world stepped out of the shadows, eyeing the remaining beasts. With every wound it bore, it became more dangerous. But Spino did not strike. It observed, analyzed, and waited. The reason was clear. In this world, only one could truly overthrow T-Rex, and that predator was Spinosaurus. But would Spinosaurus act now? Had it achieved its goal? Or would it wait for the perfect moment, only when the others had truly weakened, to end this conflict once and for all? T-Rex, could it truly be dethroned, or was it simply an eternal king? The battle wasn't just about one fight, it was about survival. Not the strongest predator always wins, but the one who endures the longest, the one who knows when to stop, the one who keeps its wits to survive. It's too early to declare a final victor, but one thing is certain. For those creatures that fought to survive, the world would never be the same again. And another thing is even clearer. This battle is not over. The clash of prehistoric monsters has never stopped. We will see new battles, new contenders emerging.